I'm going to favelas. I'm gonna lick some Brazilian booty. I'm doing some crazy
Y'all should
shit.
thank me, because the reason Vitaly isn't gonna get kidnapped, isn't gonna die out there, is because I'm protecting him.
365 days of Uzi now drop. I let it roll.
What's up everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna get straight to the point. First off, Vitaly, I knew by me coming out with a video like I did yesterday, you were gonna come out off the rails with just a bunch of different accusations. I was prepared for it, and I wasn't even surprised at how much stuff you started making up. Right off the bat, before I even get into the purpose of this video, you literally out of your mouth said, I got my steroid dealer's number from you.
You mother steroids all your life. You gave me your dealer's number.
I called him because I don't like to just chat shit. I sat on the information I've had on you for years because I actually know that what I say has an impact and can affect somebody. So I called him just to make sure that I wasn't crazy, and this is what he said. So, remember Vitaly?
Yeah.
Remember how, you know, I met you, like he introduced me to you, like I got your information from him? So he came out, right? And he was like, how are you gonna call me on steroids when I got my dealer's number from you, but I got your number from him?
Right, that's true.
And then you said, so what? I fake pranks? I already admitted it.
So Fusi2 just tried to expose me. Okay, yeah, I fake pranks. Everybody knows that. I already admitted it.
But in the video where you called me out of nowhere, when me and you were friends and saw each other in the gym a week before, this is what you said.
You had guts to say that 99% pranks are fake. Yeah, because 1% real is me.
And then you talk about me talking about wanting to shoot myself because of my depression.
You literally wanted to kill yourself because you were so depressed.
I'm not even gonna get into that because I know your responses to everything that I'm gonna say in an eloquent manner are gonna put you down, and anything you say, you're gonna just put yourself down even deeper. So I'm just gonna talk about the points that I am here to talk about and keep that childish stuff out of it. And I love how in the first video that I posted about you, I said, I'm gonna call you out in a boxing match. But you were so filled with anger and raged up that the first thing you say on Twitter is, screw the boxing match, screw the padding. I'm gonna come meet you in person and I wanna fight you bare knuckles. Bruh, I'm a 28-year-old male who runs a successful business, who lives with his family. I'm not about that stuff. I've never been arrested. I know you've been arrested over 12 times here in the States. I've never been arrested. I wouldn't just do that. I'm not a delinquent. I don't do the stuff that you do. We are not in the same realm of people, okay? I pride myself in who I am and the person that I am. And you wanted to bring up my addiction as if you can put me down with that. Well, let me tell you, Vitaly, I do have an addiction. But you know what I've also done? I've gone to rehab for it. I've learned about it. I've understood myself. I've apologized to people I've hurt in my past. And that is my business and nobody else's. I'm not doing this out of hate. I'm not doing this for views. I'm not doing this out of anger. I'm doing this because you right now feel like I'm coming at you. You came at me for years, bro. You posted videos about me violating me, thinking that it would make you feel better about yourself because you've always been hurt. You talked about how my streamies win means nothing.
The winner is Fusi2.
Yusuf Erica.
Bro, I won the 2 biggest award at the Streamies 2 years in a row. You know what you did at the Streamies?
What's up, guys?
Nobody expected to see me here. But what about my soft dick, huh? Oh, you think I'm kidding? Oh, yeah. Batch, do you even host? Where are you? Garbage. Love you, bro.
I feel like Taylor Swift.
You ran the stage, you weren't even invited to the event, pulled your pants down, and embarrassed yourself, bro. You were begging to be a part of that. You were hurt that you weren't a part of that. And you know you joke around about your Bang Bus performance now? Bro, do you not remember that when I was friends with you at the time, you were getting exposed for your sex tape? When me and you were in your apartment, you looked at me, showed me a video that you had on your computer having sex with another girl, and asked me if you should upload it so all the people who were hating on you can see that you can actually get hard. Bro, your ego is hurt. Your ego is shattered. Right now, your steroids make you feel like you're strong and big inside, but that doesn't change the fact that you're a bitch on the inside. I'm able to say that as a man, not someone who's like, oh, come fight me in person. Nah, I'm telling you at the end of this call out, I want to box you in the ring professionally. You're scared to because you know you'll fail the drug test, but I'm gonna give you a way out of that on Sunday. I don't need to fight you on the streets. I don't need to be vile or anything. We don't even have to be on KSI's undercard. I'll set up my own event wherever you want, whenever you want. We can set up something, a professional boxing match. You're going to try to get out of it because of your steroids, but again, we'll get to that on Sunday. Today I was gonna talk about your fake pranks, but I think there's something much bigger that I need to just get out there and talk about. My trip with you to Brazil. Now, for those of you who don't know, I met Vitaly in 2014. I was small on YouTube at the time, and I met somebody who was big at YouTube at the time, and obviously it was a big moment for me. And we were actually good friends leading up to the trip to Brazil. We hung out, we shopped together, and I told everybody around me like, wow, he's actually a really nice guy. He's not like he is on YouTube. I was genuinely happy to be your friend and genuinely happy to be going to my first ever World Cup, especially going out of the country. Now, what you had to say about me in the trip countless times is this.
You sat in your room jerking off. I asked you why, because you said it's too dangerous.
But Vitaly, what you don't understand is I wasn't scared to be in Brazil. I wasn't nervous to be in Brazil. I was scared and nervous to be around somebody like you. Bro, you are uncontrollable.
So we here day 2 in Brazil with this guy. He's mad at me because last night I got out of control. You can tell my subscribers. You can tell my viewers. No, not the story. Just that what happened last night.
Vitaly got a little crazy, but he woke up today, he knew what he did, and he said, I apologize, and it's all good.
There are countless stories from all of your friends that you knew who, by the way, when you were at your peak on YouTube, I was the friend who never asked to collab with you, never did a main channel video with you, and told you, Vitaly, be careful, because if you didn't have your views, none of these people would be friends with you. And look what happened. Throughout the years, people stopped with you. They stopped caring because they never gave a shit about you. They knew you were a very toxic person to be around, but they put up with you because being around you made their numbers go up. I was never trying to do that. I was genuinely trying to be your friend. And it's funny how after all that time, instead of calling out this person or that person, the first person you ever chose to call out of nowhere last year when you were on drugs was me. Your drugs were coming out of your teeth, bro. It was hard to watch my friend talk about me out of nowhere, unwarranted. Anyways, this is a very serious matter. And this matter is so serious to me, even after this and me going to rehab and, me going to my therapist and therapy, I made a video on FouseyTube called The Public Rape Experiment. At the end of that video, when the heroes went into the bathroom stall to save whoever it was getting assaulted, I had a mirror and on the wall I wrote, this is what a rapist could look like. People butchered me for that because they said the people who barged in were heroes. What they were not understanding is I was saying a rapist can look like me, can look like you, can look like the doctor you go to, can look like anybody. They're not a scary person with a beard. They could be anybody. And you taught me that in Brazil. And it terrified me and shattered my life forever. So once and for all, Vitaly, here's what happened in Brazil. Was so excited to go with you, packed our bags, paid a lot of money for these tickets. Me, myself, booked our apartment, with my credit card. I say that because it matters later on in the story. So we arrived to Brazil for our first day. I'm not gonna lie, I had culture shock. I was nervous. I was out of the country. I was out of my comfort zone. It was gonna take me at least a day to acclimate to my surroundings. But you see, being around you, I didn't have time to acclimate. Because as soon as we got to Brazil and we started going out, you got black out, belligerent, drunk. It was no way to contain you. I was nervous about what you would do and what you would say to people. I was uncomfortable around you, and this was my first ever experience being around you where you were like that. Because every time I hung out with you prior, no alcohol was involved, no drugs were involved, everything was clean. You always talk about how, and I love how you mentioned this in your video, that I was scared and I stayed in the hotel room or our apartment while you went out and partied with girls. You make it sound like you lived this lavish lavish lifestyle, that you went out and you actually pulled girls. Bruh, that's not what happened, Vitaly. Here's what happened. At that time, as you're doing now on your channel, you were recording for Vitaly Uncensored. You said you were gonna release XXX footage that people had to pay for, and it was gonna be never seen before, so you were excited for it. That's an important part of the story. Our first night in Brazil rolls around. Our first night. And you know what? You did say you were going out, and I called it early. I went into my room to edit my vlog and be responsible and FaceTime the girl who I was speaking to at the time. I was in a committed relationship at that time, and it was a long distance, so I was talking to her while in my hotel room. I'll never ever forget what happened next. And before I say this, I want to say I'm just as big and a part of the problem here. I am an enabler in this situation. I let this happen for so long. Now a lot of people are gonna say, why didn't you come forward with this? Why didn't you do anything? I already know I'm in the wrong, but I'm going to try to explain. Now if this was a girl that lived in the States who I knew didn't want to speak up, I would have been there for her. I would have talked to her. I would have tried to help her. I would have gone to the authorities. But here's why I couldn't do that. We were in Brazil on our first night. I'm editing, I'm talking to the girl. All of a sudden, at the door, in the middle of the night, bang, 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 bang. I remember this vividly. I go, I open the door. You are blacked out drunk, don't even know where you are. You walk past me and you're grabbing a prostitute's hand on her wrist and you're laughing and you take her into the room. You lock the door and I went into my room and let you do your business. That's funny because you tried to expose me about whatever you were saying on Twitter, yet you brought a prostitute home your first day. And what happened next, I have never ever forgotten. And I've told many friends and people I've gotten close to because it actually affected me as a person. Call me a bitch, call me a pussy, because you said a lot of that during this incident, but here's what happened. Under 10 minutes of her being in your room, all of a sudden at my door, knocking, screaming, crying. I open the door. This poor woman barges into my room holding her clothes, covering herself, and trying to speak to me in English saying, he's hurting me, he's hurting me, holding her wrist where there were marks from how tight you were holding her. Next thing I know, Vitaly, butt ass naked with a condom hanging off of himself, turns the corner, comes to me, spit flying out of his mouth, saying, this bitch won't let me put it in her ass. She's a bitch. She's a whore. Give me my money back. This bitch won't let me f her. You screamed that in my face. I was shaking. I turn around, she's crying, saying, help me, help me. As I turn around to you, you're recording it for your uncensored Vitaly and you're screaming, ha ha ha, this bitch won't let me f her, saying foul thing. I go up to you to try to calm you down. You pushed me onto the bed. You pushed me onto the bed and I flew onto the bed and just sat there in disbelief as to what was going on. I stood up, I went, I shut the door out on you, and I tried to calm her down. She wanted to go tell whoever was protecting her outside where we were. I calmed her down. And I did the only thing I could at that time. You paid her 300 and whatever the increments were in Brazil. I didn't know that it was different, so I went to my desk, pulled out $300 US and gave it to her and said, I am so sorry. I apologize. She gave me a hug that I have never felt before. She gave me a hug out of fear, saying thank you, because she felt like I was protecting her from a monster. What do you do in that situation as I'm walking her out of the room, making sure you don't get to her while you're still naked with a condom hanging off? You look at me and you say, you're a bitch, you're a pussy, you must be gay, and that's why you don't like girls. You violated me in front of nobody but ourselves, and that's how you know it's low. I walk her outside, she gives me a hug again, she leaves. Now Vitaly, I'm gonna tell you something I've never told you ever in my life. You go into your room later on after I went in there and you continued to cuss me out, saying I'm this and I'm that. I allowed you to say it. But the one thing you did was leave your camera on the table. I knew you were blacked out. I knew you were all over the place. I knew you weren't gonna remember this. So to protect you for whatever reason, knowing you were about to sabotage your whole life and your whole career by thinking what you were doing was gonna get you credibility from males thinking you were tough, I went on your camera and I deleted that footage. And you never, ever knew. The next day, and I have the clip in my vlog, I talk about it and this is what I say.
What up everybody and welcome to day number 2 in Brazil. I'm currently here with, we just made up because last night he did some crazy crazy stuff, but he apologized to me.
You know, I thought that was as worse it was gonna get. I thought, you know, we had a bad start. I was so nervous. I didn't know what was going on. But little did I know that was only the tip of the iceberg. The next night, what do I do again? I go home early out of fear of going out with you. I'm editing in my room just as I did the night before. And then I get a text from you and it says, hide my laptop and all my belongings under your bed. I have 5 guy friends coming over and I think it was 4 or 5 prostitutes. I'm not exactly sure. So I call my girl and I tell her, shit babe, he's about to do it again. She tells me just go in your room and lock the door. So I went in my room and locked the door. A couple of hours later, you come barging into the room with a bunch of friends and prostitutes. And for the next, I think it was 4 hours, you guys had an orgy. And I heard you guys switch from girl to girl, talk derogatory things to these girls. You talked about these women as if they were items, as if you owned them, as if they were supposed to do whatever you said. I'll never forget, because your room was right behind mine. You were sleeping with one of the girls doing what you do, and there was one of your guy friends translating, and you asked him, make sure she likes it. Ask her if she likes it. Is she liking this? It was sickening. You guys went crazy for hours. And then there was my favorite part. You paid all the girls money to take an Instagram picture with you because you wanted everybody to think that you're this player who pulls. Little did they know that in this picture, it was prostitutes who you paid to be in the picture with you. And in case you need a reminder, here's the picture directly from your Instagram on the exact date of the story I'm talking about, dog. You took that picture, posted it thinking you were hot shit. And I forgot to mention, during this whole time of the orgy, you guys are banging my door telling me, come join, you're missing out, come join. No, I'm not like that. I don't want to do that. No. And I didn't say a word. I pretended like I wasn't there. I didn't even say anything because yes, I was scared. Yes, I was uncomfortable. So I just sat there. And then, to top it all off, you misplaced your Rolex at the time and you thought it was one of the girls. So you guys went on a 40-minute search looking for this, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, finally, early in the morning, you guys leave to go out more and drink more. I open the room. There's alcohol all over the floors. There's condoms everywhere. The slider door to the bathroom was broken. I go into the living room. The sofa we had there was almost out the window. You guys went crazy. The main door to the house, broken. So I hit up my girl and I tell her everything that's going on and I tell her I want to leave. She says, get out of there. I know you remember this. I packed all of my stuff up. All of it. I don't even know what time it was. I go out in the middle of Brazil. She books me a hotel very far away and I get in the cab and I tell him to drive me to this hotel. Now you're not gonna care about this part. You never concerned yourself about this part. But when I was in that taxi, he didn't understand much English. He didn't know where he was taking me. He drove for over an hour. I looked at my map before my phone died. We were at the edge of the map and I had no idea where I was and I was terrified. He stops in the middle of a road. I see a coyote up there and a police station behind me. He gets out the car, goes into the police station. He comes back in the car. My heart is pounding and he says, get out. I said, what do you mean get out? I'm in the middle of nowhere. We weren't able to communicate with each other. He tells me to get out. I pulled out $600 US and said, airport. Please, airport. We take another 2-hour drive to the airport. I didn't know what I was doing or what flight I was gonna book. Asking myself if I should book a flight home. Asking them if there are any flights available. So I sit in the lounge and I charge my phone. As soon as my phone charges up, I get a call from you. I think that when I answer this, you're gonna say, I'm so sorry. That was inexcusable of me to act like that. I apologize. What I did was wrong. Come back. Let's talk about this. I said, hello, because it's the only way you know how to communicate. You say, not in these exact words, you're a bitch, you're gay, you're a pussy, you're a faggot, you don't like anybody. I'm gonna tell everybody not to fuck with you. I'm gonna tell, I don't wanna say the YouTubers' names, but there were YouTubers we were friends with at the time. I'm gonna tell all of them never to collab with you. People are gonna think you're a piece of shit for leaving me alone in Brazil. So here I was, a small YouTuber with you, and you're threatening me and blackmailing me. And before my career even takes off, I knew that if I got on that plane and went home, you were gonna tell everybody that I left you alone, and I wasn't gonna have the guts to say everything that you did, and my career would be over. So I made the stupidest and the hardest decision I ever made in my life. I went back to the hotel room, our apartment, and against all my self-esteem and my confidence for myself, I went back into the room with you. I put myself back in that toxic situation, and I told myself I'm just gonna make it to the end of the World Cup.
What's up, malacas malísimos? It's day 3 and day 4 in Rio. I don't even know what day of the week was it. I have maybe right now about 100 clips. I don't know none of them because most of the time I was wasted in them. But the rest of the trip I'm gonna take it easy. Why are you smiling? Take it easy.
He says that every night.
I'm gonna take it easy because I want.
Show them the damages.
The what damages? No, it's disgusting, dude. There's a lot of damages in this apartment. And what did damage to here? To girls.
I stayed quiet, I did what I needed to do, I said what I needed to say, I didn't cause any problems, and until it was done, and I even recorded you running across the pitch at the World Cup, I stayed quiet and I went home. I then, when I got home, I remember was asking you for my money back. I wanted the $300 that I paid for her, not because it was $300, but because it was the principle of me getting you out of that situation, and it was a hassle to get from you, and I'm pretty sure I still have the PayPal transaction of you sending me that. And to top it all off, after you had ruined my life back then, and this is before I went to rehab, and this is before I lost my weight, and this is before I knew who I was as a person, I remember I was working out in my gym, and you called me again, and we hadn't spoken since Brazil after you paid me, and you said, hey, I noticed my name is in all of the titles in your videos, and when people search my name, they find your videos. Can you take my name out of all your titles? We're friends and everything, but I just want my videos to come up. You were so scared of somebody else getting relevancy at the time, and that's why in turn you lost all your relevancy and all your views because of the greed. And I stayed quiet after that, Vitaly, even though I shouldn't have. And I know that's not the last time you did something like this. I know you better than a lot of people know you. I've heard a lot of your stories. There's a lot of your friends watching this right now nodding their heads saying he's exactly right, but nobody has ever had the balls to tell it to you like it is. Nobody has ever had the chance to expose you, because what's sad about somebody like you, even with all this information, they still praise you for it. They still, you know, Vitaly's a savage. I got a tweet yesterday that said, raping women is cool, Vitaly, you're the man. So the people that follow you are used to this kind of behavior, and I don't expect nothing differently, dog. This isn't about them, this isn't about me, this isn't about you, this is bigger than that. And this is putting the stop to a monster. I apologize to everybody for not coming, you know, through with this sooner. I apologize for keeping it in. So nowadays when they talk about why don't girls just come forward and say something like this, it's because here I am, a male, exposing one of my friends for what he did in Brazil, yet I promise you he'll still walk away from this. Yet I promise you he'll still get praised for this. Yet I promise you there will still be people who don't believe me. So why would a girl come clean if nobody's gonna believe her in the end? That's why it's important to speak up, and that's why it's important to stand up against this injustice and people like Vitaly. I waited years to say this, man. Years. And this isn't even the end of it. Tomorrow, just because you tried to say you're the 1% who doesn't fake pranks, I have a whole video on your fake pranks, every single one of them. And then the day after, I will prove that right now you are on steroids, even though you already admitted on Twitter, and I will call you out in the boxing match. Don't dodge this boxing match, Vitaly. Don't try to act all tough saying you want to bare knuckle me. You're not even a citizen of this country. You're gonna come up to me and punch me? You know how much more you're gonna get charged because you're punching somebody while on steroids? Don't mess your life up even more than it is, dog. Really don't do that. I'll see you tomorrow because I know you'll be back. Dos Vidania, little bitch.